Hey guys, so when you work professionally, the difference between a good animator and a great animator are very noticeable, right? And in this video, I'm gonna try my best to describe to you and to exemplify what is the difference between the two and how you can actually strive to be a great animator, and some of the steps that you should avoid to become just a good animator, if that makes sense. I hope it does. So let's get started with this episode. Welcome guys, how's it going? I hope you guys had a great week. Now, the games industry is incredibly challenging and there is a lot of competition out there, right? And I've talked in a few of my videos previous that nowadays we are spoiled for choice because most animators out there in the industry, I feel like they want to be gameplay animators first more than film and VFX, right? Also, what you get in games is longevity, so the projects are much longer than VFX in film or TV, and you also get, especially if you're a gamer, you get the satisfaction to say, I've worked in a game and I'll help ship this game, especially if it's an IP that you're really passionate about, which is great. Now, just to get in the industry is really hard, right? So I've done a ton of videos, go and check them out, about how to get into the industry, how to make it in, and how to actually be the best animator possible. Now, I want to talk today specifically about the difference between being a good animator and a great animator. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because in my position that I am right now as an animation director, I see a lot of reels pretty much daily. You see a lot of reels, you see a lot of talent, experienced people, non-experienced people, and within all this knowledge and my years previous of actually checking short reels and checking work and working with other animators, I realized that there is such a thing as animators that are willing out there to excel and be the best thing possible, especially after a few years. And there's animators that settle, basically. And they settle for certain reasons, and I'm going to hopefully break down to you guys, as this is a bit controversial, why you should avoid certain things and why you shouldn't do certain things, or you should definitely do some other things in order to become the best possible animator you can possibly be, and have a really long and successful career, hopefully, right? So, what is the first thing that you should do as an animator? Now, before I go any deeper, I have to say two things that should be basically in you already as an animator. It doesn't matter if you're just good or if you're an excellent animator. And this is the pursuit to always be a better animator, right? You should have it within you. And I know that it sounds very obvious, and it sounds like, obviously, you know, if you're an animator, if you're in arts, you need to actually become better all the time, but it needs to be within you, right? To actually have the necessity to continuously strive to be better every single day that you animate while you are in your job, right? And second point that I need to make before I delve deep into this is not to settle, right? Within you, you need to have the necessity to not settle into a place that you're not happy in, and you need to keep on moving, right? You need to keep on looking for a place that is better than the last one was, especially if you're not happy in the job that you are, right? So basically, strive to be better and always change jobs if you need to, and don't settle until you find a place that really makes you happy, right? Now, when you have those two things, here's the things that make a good animator and a great animator. When you have those two things, here's what you do in order to become a great animator. Now, first thing, you need to, whatever job you go to, right, find the size of your sandbox. And this is really important, right? So find the size of your sandbox. And by that, I mean different studios have different sizes of sandbox. What that means is basically how creative can you be, right? How outside the lines can you actually work in, right? Do you have a lead, supervisor, director that allows you to be 100% creative, like they trust you 100% and they allow you to kind of like be 100% creative? Or are you in a studio that you need to do exactly what they say to the T and there's no creativity whatsoever, right? Because there's a lot of studios out there that allow you to only do that and that's it. So find the size of your sandbox, right? And within that size of sandbox, then you can do one or two things. And this is what changes, this is what marks the difference between a great animator and a good animator. When somebody tells you that you need to actually work on a shot, and it doesn't matter what shot it is, it can be something simple, like flicking a finger or whatever it is, or it can be something super involved, a dance, right? I don't know, keepy-uppy in football or basketball or whatever it is that you need to animate. Now, the difference between a great animator and a good animator is basically that you should give to whoever asks you to do the task more than they ask you to initially, right? To break it down is basically that if me as your animation director, I ask you to make a run, a jump, and a sprint, right? So all this in one shot. I expect you as an animator to give me something creative with a premise that I gave you, right? Now, if you just give me a jump, a run, and a sprint, now if you just give me a run, a jump, and a sprint, and there's nothing creative about it, then to me and the way I work, I really don't have any use for an animator that actually cannot think outside the box. Because to me and the way that I work is that I'm looking for your creativity first, right? Animation, when you distill it, like there's so much competition out there that anybody can give you like a basic run and a jump and a sprint, right? But the creativity of it all is the stuff, it's the little secret sauce that not everybody has in this industry. So this is basically where you excel or you become better than others by actually going that 10% above what they asked you. And this is why I mean about finding the size of your sandbox, because if you can have as much creativity as possible, then you can really make it much more than it was before, even going as far as adding new ideas to the shot about, I thought about adding this extra thing here and there, what do you think, right? Now, if your sandbox is just small, you can excel by delivering what they ask you, but by delivering in a really high level, right? And in basically in very polished and getting the best references, finding the best ideas within that jump, within that run, within that sprint, and making sure that those things feel good within the context of the film, like, TV series or games that you actually are doing on, that you're actually working on. It's extremely important because if you keep yourself in the mindset that no matter how small the task that I'm given, I am going to give them back something that is incredibly cool and much better than they even thought it was possible, you will start falling into a pool of animators that are incredibly important for the project, right? Because anyone can animate, but there's only a few that really push the envelope of animation on whatever project you are, right? Because if you start pushing that envelope of animation and coming up with cool ideas that no one else is having, then all of a sudden it's like, let's give it to Harvey or let's give it to Pedro or whatever, because they have it. And because they have it, whatever they decide to do is going to be cool, especially if you fall into that realm of like being trusted with your ideas in the fact that you deliver on time and you actually work with quality and speed, and you always keep it even, right? And you always deliver on time. All of those things are true professionally, right? But on top of that, you deliver above and beyond what they ask you. All of a sudden you become the guy, right? You become that guy that they go to. And if you are the guy, if you are that person that can actually think outside the box and actually make something a little better, right? They will start giving you more and more creative freedom. Now, I talked a few videos ago about the fact that you should basically do everything they tell you right at the beginning, because this is how you are a professional animator, and this is true. Now, if you are, and if you go that little 1% or 5% or 10%, 50%, depending on your sandbox, then you actually start kind of like in standing out from the crowd in an industry that is incredibly competitive, is a really, really good thing for you. So you need to start thinking outside the box in order to become a great animator. So one piece of advice that I can give you is that don't just settle to be a good animator and do everything they tell you exactly to the T, right? If you are working in a place like this, if you are happy, stay there. But from my experience, it becomes boring very quickly, right? So you need to start looking for maybe either another job or another position, or ask for more creative freedom within your job to see what happens, right? Because we all creative people. This is why we actually got into animation in the first place. The longer you go without creating something that is that makes you excited, right? That makes you like pumped to actually finish a shot, then that creativity and that sense of flow will just die away. And I know a lot of animators that they got so much into that bubble that they just do whatever they told, and no more, no less, because they're looking for that paycheck and they're incredibly comfortable with that position, which makes them almost like bad for whatever project they go into, right? Because professionally, you want to like assemble a team for, especially if it's a new project, right? That you want to like, go out with a bang. Then you need to assemble a team that kind of like everybody's excited first and foremost, and they all think outside the box and they can riff off each other to make sure that everything is super exciting. If you have one piece that is just there to do the bare minimum in order to get this project out the door, that is not going to be good enough for the project. And people will start noticing you that this guy just does enough and doesn't do more or less, just enough to get that paycheck. You really don't want to be there because you just on that line of like maybe getting the boot because you don't really fit within the team, right? And you making yourself a little bit more like sad and unsatisfied every day. And I've seen a lot of that as well in my day, where people are not even happy where they are because of all these bad vibes and bad mouthing or whatever it is, and they start feeling like unhappy. They don't even know where they stand anymore when it comes to being an animator, right? Because if you're just doing the bare minimum, you're not actually being creative and adding anything to the project, then like, are you really truly animating, right? So you're not being creative, you're just doing the bare minimum. So what's the point? So that is basically what I mean, and I hope that makes sense to you all. Always strive to excel, always strive to be better, always strive to be the best possible, right? And then be inspired by people surrounding you that are exactly like you. Doesn't matter if they're animators, coders, designers, as long as they're actually striving to be the best they can possibly be, you should actually kind of like hang out with them, be best buddies, and inspire each other. Because if you have them, then the project is going to be great. And that's all I had for you guys. I hope that was useful. If it was, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, comment, hit the bell button for more, because I love to share this knowledge with you guys, and I hope that clarify things for you a little bit more. Now, can I go away without mentioning my Patreons, people that have been supporting me with their hard-earned money, and I highly appreciate that. I'm up to 10 Patreons right now, which I'm really appreciative. Now, if you are considering supporting me on my Patreon or this channel in general, then feel free to go over to my Patreon and check out my perks, because we have fun over there. And also, if you want to hang out and talk about animation some more, then check out my Discord server so we can all talk, share work, and all that goodness, right? That is all I had for you guys. I hope you guys have a great week, and as always, stay well, stay safe. Peace.